Hey guys, what's up? This is Eric and Sean with OzoneTCG. Today we're taking a look at Sean's grind through Platinum 1. He just hit Platinum 1 in ranked duels. Sean, what was your experience with the ranked grind?
It was not very fun, I'll say that right now. The lack of good banless hits are very noticeable. Best of one's also very noticeable, but I think I'm fine with best of one overall. It's just stuff like triple skill drain outlich is kind of annoying. Because it's just like you only get one chance to beat it, really. VFD is also pretty annoying. Then there's just a whole bunch of degen decks that probably need to be answered if they ever release a list for the deck.
Oh, gotcha. All right, and before we get into your deck and then the rest of your experience with rank, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Again, we're really trying to push out the Master Duel content for you guys. We're going to have more staples that you need, both in supers and ultras, as well as some other deck guides and budget deck profiles. Yeah, stay tuned. So what would you say was your general experience with it? Was it mostly positive or mostly negative in grinding?
I'm in between because grinding does feel like a slog sometimes. With dueling book, matches are a lot faster, I will say this right now. You can do your combos faster, you're not like reduced in speed by the time it takes for the automated process to go through. I think that it's also really noticeable because I'll bring it up later in the video that the automated mechanics of the game is something you can abuse. I know that my opponent's not playing hand traps this early on because we're still at low levels right now. Based on how the system reacts to me summoning or doing something.
Yeah.
So for instance, if I like summon Electrovite or double Helix and then there's just no like response on their end or anything like that, that means that they don't have a hand trap for me. So that means I just play super greedy.
Yeah, I agree. That's a huge thing. That's the same thing with other automated simulators like YGO Omega and Edo Pro, where you know if there's a more delayed response, you know that they have something. It may not be necessarily the specific hand trap you're looking for, but if you normal summon a monster that's an effect monster and there's a delay, even if it doesn't have an effect on field, you know, hey, it might be Ash Blossom, Dimension Shifter, Infinite Impermanence, something like that. That's been huge. Alrighty, yeah. So what would you say is the most benefit that you've had, or the best experience you've had so far with grinding?
Best experience? I gotta say, it's the rewards from the gold pass. I think it's really worth it to grind that out. Some of the decks are kind of fun to play versus when you're not like when you don't get to play the game really. But both players don't get to their assigned game plan, I want to say. Because if both players do get to play, one of the other players isn't gonna have fun.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So, and then as someone who's platinum 1 right now, what would you say, or what kind of advice would you give for someone who's just starting out or who's trying to climb through the competitive ranked scene?
So what I would do is I would get your staples first and pick one meta deck to choose to grind with, because grinding through rank will give you a lot of gems if you have the gold pass, and that would get you more cards later down the road. As you can see here, I'm already level 12 and I almost have all the solo mode finished. With ranked pass almost done completely, I'm one level away from finishing that. And you're gonna notice that there's gonna be like a drought of gems at this point.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be really hard to get the assigned staples you want later on.
Yeah, especially with that initial, I think 24 or 3,200 gems you get from the solo mode, completing a few of the practice duels and everything in solo mode. You get a lot of gems starting out, and they do reward you with the missions and everything. We have a whole guide on how best to get those gems and how to spend them. But I think once those dry out, it's going to be kind of difficult unless you are paying for gems, more often than not, or until they introduce the next ranked season, I believe beginning of March. What deck were you playing mostly through the ranked grind?
So I split between two different decks. I can show them on screen right now.
Okay, yeah. Let's take a look at them. So we have, Spiral here, and this is not the most, I would say, the most optimized list, but still good enough because Magician's Soul is one hell of a card.
Yeah, so for this rank climb, I just alternated between two different decks. I did Spiral for one half of it, and then Pendulum Magician FTK for the other, which you guys might have seen before in the last video.
Yeah.
Both are pretty degenerate, I won't lie. Spiral here is a combo deck, which basically makes it so your opponent can't play the game. You set up like a field of negates, and your opponent it's really hard to deal with, I will not lie. Spiral Sleeper is a hell of a card, so I tried it for 2. Resort makes it so all your stuff can be targeted. And then all the spiral cards just have a massive resources that you can use. Like, for instance, Quick Fix plus Parallel Exceed is just so many cards. It's kind of crazy how much you dig through your deck.
I think it's also
Double
just
Helix.
Like,
I'm sorry, what?
No, it's just crazy how Drone is at 3. We still have Resort at 3. Still have Master Plan, at more than 0 here, and then Magician Soul is still legal. I would not want to play against this deck at all. It's not fun.
And the crazy thing is, I took budget considerations in because I don't even own 2 more copies of Magician Souls, which I would definitely play 3 because it is more copies of Master Plan.
Yep.
And it combos really well with every other card in your deck. I also am not playing Terraforming, if you haven't noticed, because that's also an ultra rare for some reason.
Yeah.
It's just like, once you optimize this, you're going to notice how stupid it is later. A lot of people don't really talk about this deck that much, I guess, because the RNG factor sometimes.
Yeah.
It does get pretty hard when you're playing versus Maxi. But, I mean, I still think it's a really good deck. Double Helix Resolving is always game as long as Master Plan is, legal.
Yeah.
Something the TCG current sorely misses.
Misses
As
on
for
one
my-
end.
You say, yeah. I wish she came back, but that's a story for another day. I guess for small things, this card is really nice for setting up combos with Dugaris, Parallel Exceed, Quick Fix, and all the rescue missions you draw. Most of the time, Master Plan is going to be in graveyard because of souls, but yeah.
Right.
Another thing is that Instant Fusion, I want Millennium Eyes for it, but that's ultra rare too, so I had to use Invoked Rajin, which is okay at best. It stops Colossus, which is kind of notable.
Okay. Yeah.
Outside that, this is basically just bare bones Spiral, Jet Synchron's in here because of Hulk and just the ladder up. I'll show a replay later about what I'm talking about, but that's the first deck. And then the second deck, we have Pendulum Magician FTK, which, I showed in the last video. I made a few changes, for instance, in the last video, you saw me craft the Curtain Raiser while I was talking about it.
Yeah.
This card is probably just the next best extender, since Darkworm is currently at 1, and both Astro and Chronograph are at 1. This card is a Dark Pendulum extender that just lets you put Electromagnetic Field easier. All your combos, I'll be honest, I don't really use most of this extra, I only use half of it. Once you realize what your opponent has in hand, you can just FTK. It's really easy. No one really has dropped Nibiru on me yet. I think it's just because they don't own the card. But anytime someone like Ash just imperms me and then they just don't have a response afterwards, I go for the FTK. If they max see me, I go for the FTK. It's just crazy.
Yeah, you just kind of have to anyway.
Yeah, it's even if I don't go for the FTK, I can pivot into a stronger end board by just going regular Pendulum combos. And I mean, it's Pendulum Magician usually. This deck's really cool. Kind of fun sometimes, but it's basically just a counting exercise.
Yeah, really. And I'm sure it's not fun to play against, obviously, but also this deck I feel isn't fun to play if your opponent's on something like Stun Eldritch because of the triple skill drain, Kaiser Coliseum, everything like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. This deck thankfully has 2 natural outs to it, being Double Iris and Dragon Pit, but if the Eldritch player is smart, they should be able to win that.
Yeah. Alright, guys, so now we have some replays featuring both Spiral and the Pendulum Magician FTK. One of them actually shows the Pendulum FTK pivoting from the FTK version more to a generic Pendulum Magician deck, as we saw in 2018. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these.
So, which one do you want to start with, the Spiral or Magician one?
Let's start with Spiral.
Spiral, okay, so we'll go with this. Yeah, so like I said before, Spiral's a combo deck. I'll show you right here. Most of your hands can make the combo ever since you made a few changes to it. So for instance, this is combo because Dugaris exists. Soul Stumps Master Plan, that's the usual. Resort, either God's Quick Fix or that, yep.
And it's just crazy that Where Art Thou is also a rare in this game, and
so
you only need really 1 Magician Souls because you can search it with it, since you play 5 other level 1s. And the 2,000 life points you lose during the end phase, if you don't normal summon it, that just doesn't even matter.
I made a mistake here by not using Souls first, but it doesn't matter too much because I'll just do it with the Resort on field anyways.
Yeah. And now you're guaranteed to have Double Helix Resolve.
Yeah, I saw that I was playing Blue Eyes, and I just decided to go for a full combo.
Yeah.
You know, like the deck doesn't really have that many streamlined combos. It does get kind of hard sometimes when you're thinking. I have to make Appaloosa half the time. Otherwise, you can save on resources.
Yeah, and here you're making Daenerys with the Parallel Exceed.
Not this time. So this
Not
time,
this time,
since I
okay.
already have Master Plan, or yeah, on field and resolved it, I just go for the full Trigate Wizard board.
Okay, there you go. Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Cerberus, Trigate. So Trigate's a negate, an Omni negate. Now all your monsters can't be disturbed with battle or card effects. So really the only thing that's really breaking this is like a Dark Ruler no more, plus everything. But you also have Max C, and you also have Ash Blossom. I don't really see how they can out this, especially since
I opened kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I will not lie. So all my co-link monsters can't die by battle or card effects. I have 3 negates off Master Plan, or Appaloosa, and then Trigate Wizard's an Omni negate.
Right, and he did have the Kaiju, interestingly enough, but
yeah, he Kaiju'd my sleeper, but I don't know if it really mattered.
Yeah, I also just don't think he should have done that anyway, because the Trigate Wizard I feel like would make more sense since now your monsters still can't die by battle or card effects.
Yep, and then Trigate's also banished on your turn, and then yeah, it's just that's it really.
Even just the one negate has always just been crazy. I remember when that card was talked about and when it came out in 2017, people were hyping it so much for a good reason, especially because links were still really, really new. And Spiral became tier 0. So yeah, alrighty, let's take a look at the next replay.
Alright, so for this one, I'm just going to show the general FTK. I think this one was a funny one because I'll just show what happens.
Okay, yeah.
I make the read that my opponent doesn't have Nibiru, and I just keep going. This one was one of the night ones I think I did on stream too, so.
Okay, yeah. Be sure to watch Sean play sometimes at grand_lamb.
Yeah, on Twitch TV.
Yep.
So he maxes me here, and I know for sure this hand can FTK.
Right.
I guess that he doesn't have Nibiru, so I just go for it.
I mean, yeah, might as well. Because now you have your Black Fang, you have your Wisdom Eye to get any scaled, probably Oath Dragon, add back your monster. Yeah, he's just not winning. I mean,
you play a second Oath, so Astrograph will be able to search with this too. Wisdom Eye also.
And that's the FTK.
And then you have it. Yep.
Which we used to have to do, like we said in the other combo guide, is that we used to have to search Instant Fusion. And now
you gotta search it.
Verde Anaconda didn't exist until a year and a half after that FTK was meta, but now you just don't need to. You don't play really any bricks, because if you draw Instant Fusion, you have it no matter what. You don't even need to go to Verde Anaconda. I know Triff Gaming was featuring this as well, and he mentioned that it was also very low committal. You just are basically playing, Pendulum Magicians, full power almost, and committing only one main deck resource. That doesn't matter too much, especially in this deck, since every other card, searches every other card or anything like that, and you're only committing 2 extra deck spots, which would just be toolbox anyway.
Funny enough, though, this isn't the only pen FTK, which came to my knowledge later, but there's a second FTK because apparently Tempest is legal.
Oh yeah, Tempest Magician, with Celine, yeah.
Yeah. And Celine's not what's for turn, so it's just really funny. And finally, we have a replay where I pivot from the FTK.
Cool, alrighty.
I was in call last night with some of my friends when I was doing this, and I think they said I could do the FTK, I just couldn't remember how.
Okay, yeah. So again, just a bunch of Pendulum Magicians and Time Pendulum Graph. You want to have just as much gas as you can. We used to call this before all the crazy combo decks came out. We used to call it all Adderall Pendulum Magicians because you would just use your entire extra deck turn 1.
So let me speed that up, sorry. Fatback Harmonizing is Tails' oldest time.
Yep. Then you can just go double iris search the other Pendulum Graph. Yeah, this is insane. And you'd have to main deck Anti-Spell Fragrance to even have a chance against this, or a bunch of hand traps, which not everyone is going to go first to have Anti-Spell Fragrance. And not all of them have, generic staples that will hand trap this board.
What rarity even is anti-spell?
I honestly don't know. I could check later. We're gonna have a guide out, like I said before, but I don't know. I think it's either a super or an ultra. I know it's not super cheap.
And he ends up playing Ice Barrier or something, but this is still 4 interrupts.
Right.
Felt kind of bad for him.
Yep.
And he skips, yeah.
I mean, what can you do at that point? Playing Ice Barrier,
Yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy to me.
And that was in upper plat as well.
Yeah, these were plat games all. Alright guys, that was basically it. This is Sean of Ozone. If you guys enjoy this Master Duel content, check Ozone out. Check out all our guides and all our future videos, which we are sure to be cranking out every day now. Once the ranking system updates, I'll definitely be trying to grind that more. Solo mode, I'm almost done with, like I said. I might stream that too. But yeah, be sure to check out the rest of our content.
Alright guys, this is Eric and Sean with OzoneTCG. See you guys in the next one.